Hi, fourth graders. So this week we are going to be focusing on story elements. And story elements include the characters, setting, events, and problem and solution in the story. So we're going to learn how to describe in depth the character, setting, or event in a story or drama, drawing on specific details in that text. So we might be thinking about characters' thoughts, words, or actions. We might be talking about the significance of the setting or why certain events are important and the problem and solution of a story. So first, let's recap what characters are. So obviously, characters in a story are the people or animals who are important to the main events of the story, also known as the plot. So if we're reading the story like Come Away with Peter Pan, we know that Peter Pan, Wendy, and Tinkerbell are characters in the story. Now, the excerpt of the story that we read, while Tinkerbell's in it, I wouldn't say that she was super important to the main events of that part of the story that we read. However, she is a character. Now, in Goldilocks and the Three Bears, Goldilocks and the Three Bears are the characters in the story. But if there was a fox that lived next door to the bears and he's barely mentioned, would we want to talk about him? Not really. So you have to keep in mind they are the characters that are important to the main events of the story. So we wouldn't want to try and go into detail about somebody who didn't appear in the story for more than a couple of lines. We have to be careful when we are talking about that or listing characters. Next is the setting. So we know that the setting is where a story takes place. So this could include like the time period or even the time of day and the location. And these settings can be realistic, real, or made up. So just because you're reading a story and it sounds like a real place doesn't mean that it's real. So realistic and real are two different things. Real means it's actual real life, like Clovis, California is a real place. But like if you've ever seen The Princess Diaries, Genovia, which is a country, isn't real, but it's a realistic place. So it's similar to something that actually exists. And then made up would be like Arendelle from Frozen. So the setting, again, is where a story takes place. Now, plot and events. So you may hear events in the story and you may hear references to plot. Plot and events are the same. So the plot are events that take place in the story, and it is usually organized just like a story would be, from beginning, middle, and end. And events and plot don't include problem and solution, but we do typically talk about problem and solution separately. So when you were summarizing, you would always include the problem and solution in your summary. And you do the same thing when you're analyzing story elements. You would include the problem and solution as part of the plot. Next is a problem. So when we're asking what the problem in a story is, it's a struggle or issue that a character or characters must overcome. It also can be called a challenge or conflict. And last, we have solution. So the solution is the way the characters solve or overcome the problem. We often might call that the resolution. So they're finding a solution to the problem that they have encountered. Now, you are going to be reading some stories this week, and you'll be analyzing the characters, the setting, events, and problem and solution in this story so you can learn to identify them. Good luck, fourth grade.